Evergreen, Evergreen, how we doing today? Dr. T here. It is a Friday. Now, you might not watch this video on Friday in your class, but we are happy that the weekend is here. But I want to talk to you about something that is very important to me. And it's a powerful word. And the word is empathy. You guys know what empathy is? And you don't want to confuse it with sympathy. Empathy is having the ability to understand what other people are feeling, coping with, going through, or why they feel the way they feel. You can understand how another person is dealing or feeling with a situation. You can literally feel what they are feeling. That is empathy. So I want to share a story with you today, and it's called Empathy Is My Superpower. Now, let me tell you, if empathy is your superpower, that is an amazing superpower, because not everyone has the greatest qualities of empathy. That is something you often have to work at to make sure you are not just worried about yourself or seeing things just from your side of it. There are times you may be right. That doesn't mean you should not be able to understand how others are feeling. There are other times you are absolutely wrong. You need to be able to still understand how other people are feeling. So we are going to read again. Empathy is my superpower. Hey everyone, my name is Amelia. I'm a little tired right now. Last night I was trying to get my beauty sleep. Not that I need much. When my crybaby brother started crying in his bedroom because his night light went out. You guys ever have to deal with that? One of your siblings having a rough night? For whatever reason? Let's see how this goes. Why does he turn every little thing into the biggest problem in the world? Boo-hoo, I say. Aren't we supposed to be teaching kids to toughen up? Now, I will say, she doesn't seem to be really understanding of her brother so far. Luckily, Mom came and replaced the light bulb. Then he finally calmed down. At breakfast, I thanked the big baby for keeping me up half the night. But I was scared of the dark, he whined. Dude, you need to toughen up. You're tougher than that. You're not 2 years old anymore. Stop, Mom shouted. Quit picking on your brother. You know it wouldn't hurt you to show some empathy. So far, the sister seems to just be looking at the situation from her point of view. But what about her brother? Her words are really seeming to hurt his feelings. Mom, I wasn't being mean. I was stating a fact. Kevin was acting like a baby. And besides, empathy isn't a real word. Amelia, you may think he was acting like a baby, but in his mind, he wasn't. Kevin really was scared. Don't you know what empathy means? Not really. It means you understand how others feel and you give them support. It really isn't hard to show a little empathy. Just follow these rules. You guys ready for the rules? Here it goes. How to show empathy. Number 1, think about how others may feel. Number 2, come up with the ways to show them you understand. And number 3, offer any help or assistance you can. Let's try showing empathy now. How do you think Kevin felt when the nightlight went out? He probably felt scared, nervous, wanted Mom and Dad, might even wanted his sister. Thought the boogeyman was coming to get him, or somebody was in the closet, or somebody was under the bed, or maybe, he saw a shadow on the wall. Could have been anything. Who knows? He probably thought some huge monster was going to come get him. He really might have. On a scale of 1 to 5, how scared do you think he was? probably a 10 as loud as he cried. So now maybe she's starting to think about how her brother was feeling. Yes, he was really scared. That doesn't mean you would be scared in that situation. Different people handle situations differently. What could you do to show him you care? That's when I pictured myself as Super E. Be right back, Mom. I sprinted to my room, put my cape on, and then I zoomed to the camping closet. Kevin always freaked out on camping trips when it got too dark, but he'd settle down and go to sleep if he had a flashlight. I tossed around all our camping gear until I found this favorite flashlight, and then I raced back to his room. Hey, Kevin, I'm going to leave this by your bed in case the light goes out again. Just turn it on if you need some light. Now, it seems like she's starting to understand where her brother is coming from. A curious smile crossed his face. Thanks, but who are you? I'm Super E, and the E stands for empathy. What's that? It basically means you let people know you care about them. And just like that, Mom and Kevin were happy. I decided to keep my cape on because today, Super E was going to spread caring and understanding at school. Okay. As I walked the hallways, every kid looked at me like I was crazy. But she has her Super E cape on. Pretty empathetic. Too bad they don't understand empathy. And it didn't take long before Super E was called into action at school. I had just sat down for lunch with my friends. Like usual, when I saw Priya eating by herself again. Priya always eats alone because no one wants to sit by someone who eats weird food all the time. Let's see where this goes. As I watched her, I remember what Mom had told me about empathy. Then I asked myself how Priya must feel sitting all alone. I bet she's lonely eating by herself every day, and that can't be fun. Super E needed to show Priya empathy. I sprung to my feet, then quickly took a seat next to Priya. She didn't really look at me until I asked if I could eat lunch with her. How do you show empathy? Remember these 3 things. Think about how others may feel. Come up with ways to show them you understand. And number 3, offer any help or assistance you can. But Priya said, is this a joke or something? Why would you want to do that? Priya doesn't trust what's going on right now. Because I don't like seeing you eat lunch by yourself. And I think you're cool. And you know what? That made Priya smile listening to Super E. We started talking and had a good time. We actually had a lot of fun in common. And I even found out the food she eats is made from recipes her grandmother brought from another country. How awesome is that? This empathy thing is really powerful. And now look who's having a good time at lunch. See those smiles? Turn those frowns upside down. The next day in reading class, Kayla was really upset again. She always says things like, why can't I learn like everyone else? And this doesn't make sense. She looks pretty sad. But I think Super E might be up to something. Let's see. Her constant complaining was really annoying, so I shouted, just try harder. But then I remembered that whole empathy thing. Something really was bothering her. But what could I do to show her I cared? I decided to get some advice from my favorite teacher, Mr. Parker. He asked if I knew exactly what was bothering Kayla. All I could say was that she was pretty frustrated. Who knows why? Well, why not ask her yourself? It's pretty good advice from Mr. Parker. Okay, Parker. Think he's related to Peter Parker, Spider-Man? Well, y'all might not know about that. Anyway, I marched over to Kayla and asked, "What's wrong?" Kayla turned to me and said, the words on the page didn't look right, and she needed help reading the questions. I think Super E might help her. No problem. You just need your glasses. They must be around here somewhere. You see, I got mine on. It's not that. My eyes are fine. It's something in my brain. I have dyslexia. I learned people with dyslexia have a hard time reading words. And that's when I realized Kayla really had been trying her best the whole time. With Mr. Parker's permission, I read the questions and answers to Kayla. She smiled and sighed with relief because everything made more sense to Kayla. I told her I was sorry it was hard for her to read, and I'd help her anytime she needed it. Super E wasn't going to let someone struggle without offering help. See, not making fun, offering help. Things at school were going great until I saw John in the hallway. I couldn't warn him in time, and he stepped into a puddle by the water fountain. His feet flew in the air. He fell with a thud. Everything crammed in his backpack scattered across the floor. Kids started laughing, and John was totally embarrassed. It was time for Super E. Have no fear, Super E is here. I did a big old belly flop into the puddle and shouted, "Wow, that's refreshing." The hallway erupted in laughter as everyone pointed at me instead of John. We both got up, and then I helped him stuff everything back in his backpack. I even wiped up the floor. So for a moment, John was really embarrassed, but Super E thought quickly, how would he feel and how can I help? And she came to the rescue. Why did you do that? John asked. Now you're soaking wet. Because Super E is all about empathy. I care about you and wanted to help you out. Another person saved by Super E. I like her. The next day, my stomach hurt really bad. Without warning, I threw up right in the middle of Mr. Parker's spelling lesson. Gross! Eventually, the nurse arrived with the news that 2 superheroes had come to take me home. Totally confused, I asked, 2? Who? What 2 superheroes? And just then, Mom and Dad came around the corner, and they were wearing capes just like mine. What are you doing? Looks like Mom and Dad know about that E word also. We're Mom E and Dad E, the superhero parents of Super E. We know feeling sick is awful, and we came here to show you how much we care. They had a big surprise waiting for me at home. What do you think the surprise is? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? They had made a cozy nest of blankets for me on the couch. There was a glass of soda and a box of crackers in case I got hungry. Best of all, my favorite movie was ready to play on the TV. Here it is, Super E been helping out all these people, understanding what they're dealing with, but when she needed someone, mom and dad were right there to understand how she was feeling. Even superheroes like Super E can benefit from a little empathy. Guys, I want you to think about even more how other people are feeling, how other situations might bother them. What might be funny to you could be hurting someone else's feelings. Start paying attention to how all your classmates feel about everything. And then start making decisions based on how you think they may feel or how certain situations may make them feel. It'll make you a better person. So, as we move forward, Evergreen, Dr. T is going to be looking for a few super E's in the building. Remember, empathy, the ability to understand and feel what others have going on. All right, Evergreen, be great. Stay well. Talk to you soon.